The woman riding the beast in Revelation 17 represents a corrupt and apostate religious system, often identified as Mystery Babylon, which has formed an unholy alliance with worldly powers. A symbol of false religion, the woman is described as a harlot who has committed spiritual adultery by seeking power through alliances with the kings of the earth. Her wine represents her false doctrines that make drunk and lead people astray from true faith. Mother of harlots, she is called the Mother of Harlots, and her daughters are symbolic of the Protestant churches that have adopted her doctrines and traditions. The Protestant interpretation of the 10 horns of the beast in the Book of Revelation provides a thorough overview of the historicist perspective particularly. Here's a structured breakdown of the key points mentioned, which may help clarify the concepts further. Key interpretations of the 10 horns in Revelation. Historical context. 10 horns represent the 10 political powers, kingdoms that emerged from the division of the Roman Empire. Protestant Historicism identifies these kingdoms as various Germanic tribes and nations that arose after the fall of the Western Roman Empire in 476 AD. The Anglo-Saxons, precursors to modern England. The Franks, precursors to modern France. The Alemanni, Alaman Franks, located in parts of modern Germany. The Burgundians, in parts of modern Switzerland and France. The Visigoths, in modern Spain. The Suevi, in modern Portugal. The Lombards, in modern Italy. The Vandals, their kingdom in North Africa and parts of the Mediterranean was exterminated. The Ostrogoths, their kingdom in Italy was also exterminated. The Heruli, an early Germanic kingdom in Italy that was overthrown. The little horn, Antichrist. The time between the start of Daniel's prophecy, the Babylonian exile, around 605 BC, the 70-week prophecy itself points to a 490-year period ending with Jesus' crucifixion. The gap of approximately 400 years between the Old and New Testaments, often called the silent years, occurred between the end of Daniel's prophecy and Jesus' birth. Emergence of power. The little horn, often associated with the papacy, arose from among these kingdoms and uprooted 3, Heruli, Vandals, Ostrogoths, to consolidate power. The 10 horns as literal kingdoms established by barbarous tribes, which eventually shaped modern European nations. End times prophecy. Papacy's role, identified as the little horn of Daniel 7 and the sea beast of Revelation 13, representing a politico-religious power. Future alliance. While not predicting a revived Roman Empire, a future alliance between the papacy and Protestant America, the 2-horned, lamb-like beast of Revelation 13. Final crisis. This alliance could lead to a conflict involving the enforcement of a counterfeit Sabbath, Sunday worship, as the mark of the beast. Satan's confederacy describes a unification of forces under the papacy opposing God's people. Conclusion. This historicist view emphasizes a historical and socio-political lens through which these biblical prophecies are interpreted, highlighting the connection between ancient kingdoms and modern nations, as well as the role of the papacy in eschatological scenarios. The biblical Sabbath has its origins in the creation narrative, where God rested on the 7th day and made it holy, a time before the existence of the Israelite nation or the Jews. The Bible indicates that Jesus and his apostles observed the 7th-day Sabbath, Saturday. It is a documented fact that there is no explicit biblical command or scripture that authorizes the change of the 7th-day Sabbath to Sunday. Catholic and Protestant sources alike acknowledge this lack of scriptural authority for Sunday observance, stating the change was a development of church tradition and practice. Jesus says, "If you love me, You'll keep my commandment. Mark of the beast, the enforced observance of Sunday instead of the biblical Sabbath, Saturday. This belief is based on the interpretation that the fourth commandment Sabbath is a divine seal, and enforcing Sunday worship is a human-made tradition that acts as a counterfeit to God's law, representing allegiance to a religious system, or beast, rather than God. There is a remnant of Christianity that worships the Lord on the Sabbath. The Catholic Church and most Protestant churches worship the Lord on Sunday, and Islam has its assembly on Friday. Two of the three mentioned above are not worshipping on the Lord, appointed time of worship. The concept of setting apart the Sabbath appears over 170 times, with the word Sabbath appearing 172 times in the Bible. These references are found throughout both the Old and New Testaments, with God instructing to keep the seventh day as a holy day of rest. Themes about worship in the context of the new earth. Here's a structured overview. Points. Key themes in Isaiah 66:23. Context of the new earth. Prophetic significance. This verse appears at the conclusion of Isaiah's prophecies, which focus on the restoration and renewal of creation. Worship in a restored world. The prophecy centers around the idea that worship will be a central aspect of life in the new earth. Regularity of worship. Rhythm of worship. The phrases "from one new moon to another" and "from one Sabbath to another" suggest a structured and ongoing practice of worship. Consistency. This indicates that worship is not a sporadic event, but a regular part of the rhythms of life, similar to how we experience time through months and weeks. Inclusivity of worship. Universal participation. The mention of all flesh signifies that worship is not limited to a specific group. It invites everyone, emphasizing God's desire for all humanity to engage in worship. Transcending boundaries. This aspect of worship transcends ethnic and national lines, highlighting the universal nature of God's kingdom. Summary. In summary, Isaiah 66:23 presents a vision of a future where worship is integral to the life of every person on the new earth, characterized by regularity and inclusivity. This prophecy not only reassures believers of the continuity of worship, but also emphasizes God's universal call to all people.